Relax, it's just sports. And I feel like this is the second week in a row where I'm saying relax is definitely the key word. Week 3 of the NFL season just wrapped up. Just for everyone's programming note, we're taping this on a Monday. Normally we do Tuesday, so Monday Night Football hasn't happened yet. There's some red stuff we won't know. We're doing that. I observe Rosh Hashanah. Taylor was nice enough to do this a day early with me, and we will make it happen. Happy New Year to all who celebrate. Okay, we're going to talk Bengals. I don't even want to call it a loss. Catastrophe in Minnesota.
Bengals flop.
Bengals flop. Bengals look ahead. What the heck is going on with the Bengals? The Reds, at this moment in time, a lot will change or could change or may not change by the time you listen to the podcast on Wednesday. With the Cincinnati Reds, as of right now, if the playoffs started today, the Reds are in. What?
Crazy.
Crazy.
Insane.
Big 12 football starts this week. UC goes out to Kansas. We'll talk about that really quickly. And a Cincy dudette in the news. Love
Very
that.
excited about this one.
I could tell there was a bunch of exclamation points on the rundown for it. Well-deserved. Okay, I guess we start at the funeral.
Unfortunately, yeah. We have to start there.
So the Cincinnati Bengals go up to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. The hype before this game, Carson Wentz, the backup quarterback for the Vikings, Jake Browning, the backup quarterback for the Bengals. New start, tabula rasa. Everyone pumped about it because this Bengals locker room is 2-0 for the first time under Zach Taylor. The Bengals believe in Jake Browning, even though Joe Burrow is no longer playing for at least the next 3 months. They got a chance to prove the world wrong, and
Yeah.
I mean, that game was one of the worst NFL games I've ever seen in Cincinnati Bengals history. It was historic. At one point, the Bengals were down by 45 points, 48-3, I believe.
Yeah.
That was the largest deficit in Bengals history. The Bengals 38-point loss, 48-10. That is the largest loss in Bengals history. What went right? Let's start with that. It's over.
End of segment.
End of segment. I mean, it comes down to they turned the ball over 5 times. And here's what I do want to say, too, before we get into dissecting everything that went wrong. It was not a Jake Browning problem. Joe Burrow loses that game if the Bengals come out the way they did. I want to talk about the Joe Burrow not being their factor to the game, but I don't think Joe Burrow wins them that game.
No.
I don't think it mattered who was at quarterback, but I do think the absence of Joe Burrow mattered, which I'll get into in a little bit. So I want to put that, and I also don't want to blame the offensive line because it was not the offensive line's fault. 5 turnovers by 4 different players, 2 interceptions by Jake Browning, a lost fumble by Noah Fant after a reception, a lost fumble by Jamar Chase. When does that happen? A lost fumble by Samaje Perine also doesn't really happen. It just didn't, nothing made sense. It was like they showed up but weren't there.
Yeah, nothing went right.
Nothing went right. You can't even say oh, let's talk about this. There were a lot of things I saw Logan Wilson, the Bengals captain and linebacker. He only played 70% of snaps. He was told going into the game by the positions coach of the linebackers that that they're going to be changing things up to try to keep him healthy. They were using Demetrius Knight more, who usually starts with him, the rookie, or Burks more, and they're doing some kind of linebacker rotation. He said he found that out that day.
A little odd.
That's a bad vibes decision. You should know the game plan going in. I'm not saying the rotation at linebacker is the reason that the Bengals lost by 38 points.
It's not. I can guarantee that.
Can confirm not. The game itself. Isaiah Rodgers is a name that will live in Cincinnati infamy.
I had literally never heard of this man in my life. Brand new cornerback for them.
Yeah, but he's not new to the league.
No. But he just appeared on their team and was immediately the best player on that defense.
I mean, so it has defensive player of the week hasn't come out yet. It's Isaiah Rodgers. I don't know that, but I know that. In the first half, Isaiah Rodgers pick 6, 87 yards the other way off Jake Browning. Okay, tip ball, things happen, whatever. We move on, we evolve. A few minutes left in the second quarter, 5 minutes left, I believe it was. He forces the fumble on Noah Fant as the Bengals are driving, retrieves the fumble, goes Another, 66 yards to the end zone?
Something like that, yeah.
At this point, this man has 14 points to the Bengals 3 and 150 plus all-purpose yards. He plays cornerback.
Yeah.
We're not. You thought I was done? Because we're not. Because at that point, the Bengals are down 17-3. They're hoping to get a touchdown in the half, and they get the ball back. And how many times have we seen the Bengals down 2 touchdowns, last drive of the half? They do that 14-point swing, and boom. Like, I didn't think the Bengals were out of it at that point. Like, then that happened. I'm like, this is going to get ugly. They are now trying to run down the clock before the half. Jamar Chase fumbles. Do you know who knocked it out?
I can guess probably.
Isaiah Rodgers.
Yeah.
3 forced turnovers in the first half. The Bengals, it was, I don't even know. Like, what do you say in the locker room at halftime? Like I heard, because I didn't travel to Minnesota for this game, but Zach Taylor was asked by the sideline reporter, and he answered. He was just like, yeah, we got a lot of pride to play for. If you're playing for pride in the second half, it's not good. It's not good.
No, I believe he said it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
We've got pride. He said there's nothing else I can tell this team but to try our best. Am I right, guys? Let's go.
And you know what? I don't even, yes, the Vikings are a great defense. We talked about that on the pod last week. Mm-hmm. The Browns might have proved they're a better defense this week. They went on to stop the Packers, who people think might be the best team in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
So they've played really good defenses this year. Okay. It's so overwhelming, this game. Nothing went right. Jake Browning, not his fault. The run game. Okay. What's going on? There was three things that stood out to me with the run game. One, every run is up the middle, and every run on first down doesn't work.
Yes.
At some point.
I couldn't agree more. I'm already with you.
At some point, I really okay, I think they figured this one out. And this is against a Vikings defense that is very good, but last week against the Atlanta Falcons, Bijan Robinson ran a track all over them.
Yeah.
He's the best running back in the NFL.
Yes.
But still, it didn't matter if the Bengals had the best running back in the NFL because Chase Brown didn't even make it to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I think we have the stat right here. Out of 10 attempts, he was either hit at the line of scrimmage or in the backfield 7 times.
Out of 10 rushing attempts,
yes.
Chase Brown had 3 yards. Chase Brown is a very good running back, and he has not been able to get going this season.
Not at all.
The thing that I thought was really interesting about the running backs, Samaje Perine gets his first carry. They were 3rd and 12, basically against their own goal line. Samaje goes for this great run in the first half. He gets a first down. It was basically just to give them more room to punt. But he fights his way. Zach Taylor challenges. They get the yard line to gain. Awesome. Did you know that was the first rushing attempt by a Bengals running back not named Chase Brown?
Yes, I did. And I thought that earlier this season because Samaje Perine, no newcomer to the Bengals.
No, they went out and they got him because they like him.
Yeah, and they have not. Anytime he's in the game, you just immediately go, okay, they're passing.
Because he's a good pass protection. Yeah, and he comes in on 3rd down.
Yeah.
And I want Chase Brown to be getting 90% of the carries. But 100%? Whatever. But also Chase Brown looked good in the passing game in the second half, but the second half. Here's the one good thing I will say.
They looked so good when the Vikings took out their starters.
I wouldn't even say they looked so good.
That's true. They at least scored when the Vikings took out their starters.
Drew Sample.
Yeah.
I think if there is a good thing is you got all the ick out. All the ick you had, all the good things that went your way the first 2 weeks, everything that could have went wrong. And maybe you just bottle that up and go, achoo, and it's gone. And you just, when you get sick and you get 103 grade fever and you're coming out both ends and all the things, sometimes you just need to, have an exorcism out of you. And,
Yeah.
and maybe that's what Minnesota was for them.
But also maybe not. Maybe that's not what it was. And maybe this is a sign to come, which I think is what a lot of Bengals fans are afraid of right now.
I'm not afraid of that yet, though. Like, I need just, for me, when it comes to the NFL, when it comes to almost any sport I cover, patterns are what concern me. One-offs don't.
Yeah, but I do think this was the last two games the Bengals won. Yes. As we've noted in both recaps of the last two games, they weren't the best team we'd ever seen. And I think what happened was we've been talking about the run game's not really going.
Yeah.
This time the run game was detrimental to the situation.
But the run game isn't why they lost.
No, I do think that has part of it, but no,
5 turnovers to 0.
Always,
5 turnovers to 0.
sure.
Doesn't matter.
Although, like, one of the turnovers was by a running back, so he does count as part of it.
There was 4 more.
Yeah, but I'm like, all of it put together, I think, does equal, oh, this is just bad on top of each other. I don't think it's like, well, we had all of our bad and now we can transfer to good. I think it's like, wait, what do they do to fix this?
So, yeah, and I definitely, I agree with that.
I do think Bengals fans are like, SOS mode, guys. Please, what am I supposed to look forward to?
From what you're seeing online, what are Bengals fans, in your opinion, thinking was the root cause of Minnesota? Just that, like, we're being exposed?
Yes. I saw a lot of exposed. I have a quote here that we can talk about more in depth. After Zach Taylor talked to the sideline reporter and said, unacceptable turnovers, a very famous Cincinnati figure, Marty Brenneman, tweeted out, "What is unacceptable is Bengals ownership. This football team is a joke, and the main reason is the unwillingness of the ownership to spend the money necessary to make this team a contender." As I said, a joke.
So I don't agree with that.
I don't either, but I do.
They went out and spent the money this year.
I do think that tweet is just something that, like, everybody's like, yeah, you're so right. This is a constant issue with the Bengals.
Okay, the Bengals are 2-1. This is a game. Like, this one game, it could be a pattern. I hear that. I teased about it a little bit at the beginning of the show. The Joe Burrow leaving effect. Mm-hmm. We saw this. It was a much closer game 2 years ago against the Steelers when they lost Jake Browning's first start. It was much closer game. But I genuinely believe that 2 things can happen when a star leaves the team. There's the one you rally around and boom, from the jump, you're good. And the other one is a little more startling, but it doesn't mean you can't figure it out, is you have your front to the outside world where you say, we got our guy, we believe in him. And I genuinely believe that the Bengals believe in Jake Browning. Like, they're not going out and getting another quarterback. And I think the guys in that locker room don't necessarily want another quarterback. They want Joe Burrow, obviously, but they're ready to ride with Jake. I think that it's a shock to your system because, 1, the quarterback, 2, being Joe Burrow, is the offense. Everything runs through him. They have superstars elsewhere, but the only person who touches the ball every single play, who is the coach on the field every single play, I talked about last week, he makes a lot of audibles, sees the whatever. That's an adjustment that not only is an X's and O's adjustment, but it's a mental and emotional adjustment. Like, your quote-unquote rock out there is taken away from you. So I am very interested to see what happens Monday Night Football in Denver, because now you have another 7 days to be like, okay, Jake's here. This is real now. We played a week with him. We can adjust all of ourselves, not even physically, mentally and emotionally, and buy into Jake Browning and buy into the Bengals. And I think there's a good chance of what we see that. I loved hearing what Teddy Bruschi said, former Patriots linebacker who was on I believe it was the 2008 Patriots when Tom Brady got hurt the first game of the season after the team went 18-1 and lost in the Super Bowl. And he was talking about, like, you need the other players who are leaders. Like, you know, he talked about Randy Moss was the star wide receiver, kind of like Jamar Chase is the star wide receiver for the Bengals. They got to do that much more. And I really want to see, because we didn't see anyone do that much more, who is going to step up. And I think genuinely, now they get blown out in Denver, we'll have a much different conversation on Tuesday. But I want to give them this week of grace.
Okay. I would like to know your opinion on Jake Browning, just Jake Browning. Obviously, we both know not a good game. But do you still see things in that game where you're like, okay, I think he can still carry the Bengals? Or are you a little concerned? Because a lot of people were concerned. I think Zach Taylor had him on a pretty straight script. But every time Jake Browning attempted to create a turnover game.
Jake Browning was not set up for success in this game. I don't think it was Jake Browning's fault. I still have confidence in him. He was not set up for the success. It goes back to what we were talking about, the run game. First down, every time they ran the ball, it was unsuccessful. So now you're at 2nd and 11, 2nd and 9, where when they threw the ball on first down, Jake Browning was successful. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure they will be making the necessary adjustments, or I would like to think they will. I am not worried yet about Jake Browning. He went up in his first start in 2 years against Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator for the Vikings, and what is a top 5 defense in the NFL. It doesn't get easier, but I do think I'm still in on Jake Browning. I'm still in. I still think he was started on the third of the NFL teams. I think he's going to make those mistakes. He's going to create and throw interceptions, and that's okay. I can live with interceptions. Can't live with 5 turnovers.
Yeah.
So I'm still in on Jake. I think this game was such a disgusting. This is not going to continue to happen. It was so bad it'd be impossible to continue to happen.
I can't comment on that because it could be bad. It could continue. It
could be bad, but it can't be this bad. You're not going to lose the turnover battle 5-0 every game. Jamar Chase is not going to be fumbling footballs. Samaje Perine's not going to be fumbling footballs. Noah Fant, when he turned around and got punched out it was all the breaks the Bengals had. Isaiah Rodgers, you literally said you didn't know who he was earlier.
Yeah.
The dude played the game of his life. You're not going to get a game of your life game the next 14 weeks. You're just not.
I don't disagree with that. I do think though when I look at the Vikings, last year, okay, there was no Isaiah Rodgers, but there was Cam Bynum. They always have these guys who are able to pop stuff out because of a.
But that happens everywhere.
Sure, I'm more concerned. You said let's talk about it next week. I look at the Broncos and I think they're not nearly as good as people thought they would be. Mm-hmm. But their defense is still very
awesome.
good. And so I'm looking at that defense and I'm going, what is Jake Browning going to do differently this time? I could still see they have great secondary, punching the ball out, doing what they have to do. So I'm a little concerned that nothing's going to change.
But see, this is where I think Bengals fans and people who cover the Bengals need to rethink of how we cover and follow the Bengals, because normally it's what is Joe Burrow going to do? Mm-hmm. Yes, Jake Browning is the quarterback, but it's more to me, what is the Bengals offense going to do? Are they going to be getting Jamar Chase the ball on a very quick screen? Are they going to be finding ways, a direct snap here to someone else? I think we need to see other teams be more creative like other teams, essentially. That's kind of what I think. So what is Jake Browning going to be doing differently? I don't know. But I think there's a way that he could be set up more for success.
Let's go ahead and kind of talk about that game if you're okay with it. Like I said, Broncos kind of flopping, kind of in their flop era as well.
In Denver on Monday night.
But it's going to be Denver Monday night rematch of last year's game, which was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and that was the game that the Bengals needed to win to stay in the fight for playoff contention. The Broncos, they wound up making the playoffs, but both the Bengals and Broncos were fighting for that last wild card spot. And it was an emotional game. And that was low-key. It wasn't Bo Nix coming out party, but it was Bo Nix can ball a little bit.
Yeah, he's going toe-to-toe.
Yeah, against Joe Burrow. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think the Bengals will absolutely 1,000% have to figure out a more creative offensive script. They have to. I think the Bengals need to find a way to get the ball in Jamar Chase's hands more. That's the only way they will be successful. You got to get Jamar Chase the ball more. You have to give Chase Brown an opportunity to do something. And you know what I will say about the Bengals? That we're going into week 4 and we're not here talking about how bad the defense is.
I know.
Because the defense didn't have a chance to be bad.
Yeah. When you give up 14 points on offense, the defense can't do anything. Yeah.
And, they were up against their own 20-yard line. It felt like half the game.
Yeah.
I think Denver is not as good as people think. I don't think Denver has the offensive playmakers. Cortland Sutton's their wide receiver.
He popped off a little last week, finally.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he's bad. I think Bo Nix is solid. I think he can make a big throw. J.K. Dobbins is actually having a pretty good year.
Mm-hmm. Sean Payton loves a running back. He's
He does.
always going to dedicate to the run.
Yeah. And can the Bengals stop the run? I mean, I can't. I mean, they didn't last week, but like the defense was in such a bad position last week. Miles Murphy looked good, but
which is honestly a big win. Miles Murphy looking good.
I want to see Miles Murphy look good in a game. That means something.
Yeah, but I feel like I haven't seen Miles Murphy
ever.
Yeah.
Chris Jenkins looked good, and that was like a real look good, I thought. I think Miles Murphy got advantageous scenarios based on right place, right time. Chris Jenkins was making football plays. That I liked. Yeah, so I guess that's kind of my vibe on this Denver game is your season, the Bengals season, it doesn't come down to Monday Night Football, but the next 4 weeks do, and then we're talking about a third of your season because after that you got Detroit in Cincinnati, then the Bengals go to Green Bay, and then I believe they have Pittsburgh.
That's rough.
That's rough. So you need to win Monday Night Football. You have to. You got to bring, because if you lose Monday Night Football badly, sound the alarms. If you lose Monday Night Football tight, that's deflating. You just erase your 2-0 start. If you win Monday Night Football a quarter of the way through the season, you're 3-1. So I think there's a crazy amount of stakes in this game.
You mentioned switching up the offense. What are you looking for? Are you looking for, like you said in the second half, I felt like Chase Brown, they did a lot of passing plays to Chase Brown that I really enjoyed.
Which he's worked on so much. The amount of times Chase and I talk about, like, he goes and he works out in Atlanta in the offseason with a trainer. Him and Andre Yosevas go to the same guy. And it's cool. You'll see them pregame, Chase Brown and Andre Yosevas. They do a tennis ball drill together. Like, they do the same drills. They're BFFs, but, like, they do all the same drills together. After Chase's rookie year, he was like, I need to be a quote-unquote receiver back if I want to see the field. Mm-hmm. He's worked in it. Joe Burrow has praised Chase Brown for being a good receiver back and like like the aptitude he had to say, this is what I need to get on the field, and did it. Use it.
Yeah.
Do it.
And I will say, in watching it, I felt like they did do more play action, even though Zach Taylor said he wasn't going to. And in the play action plays, I noticed tight ends and Chase Brown, they're getting available and open for Jake Browning. It was a matter of Jake Browning finding them sometimes with the tight ends.
And also Jake Browning, like, they're down by 1 million points. Yeah. Like it's not a fair assessment of
No, totally. But I'm just saying, you could see the world where, Chase Brown's open out here. I've got the tight ends in the middle.
It looks like Noah Fant is Browning's new best friend.
Yeah.
And I
he
think
should
we'll
be.
see more Gesicki. Yeah. I mean, the fumble was really bad.
Yeah.
And we'll see more Gesicki, I think. And I mean, the one touchdown was to tight end Drew Sample. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. But, like, let's put Jamar Chase in there, too.
Well, and I think they did a good job of that in 2023 with the screen passes to Jamar. They kept him more in the slot, running around. I saw a couple pre-stop motion this game, and I was like, this is what we need more of.
You know one of my favorite things to watch when the Bengals do? Third down, let's get the ball to T. Higgins. He's the craziest, like, third down red zone advantage. Arguably, like, we're talking like him, we're talking like Mike Evans, prime Keenan Allen, like big, strong dudes who could just guarantee you a catch. There was the one touchdown, not almost touchdown throw, that was just a phenomenal play by the Vikings secondary there that knocked the ball before Higgins had a chance at it. But, like, when Higgins gets a ball on third down, I'm like, and that is why you pay him.
Yeah.
So, like, let's find a way. Get Jamar Chase the ball on first down. Get Chase Brown the ball in space on first down. If your A-gap runs aren't working, and the A-gap, for those who don't know, is the running lanes between the center and the guards in the middle. If that's not working, about 40% of their rushing attempts are in the A-gap, where the most players are.
And some of our weakest players.
Yeah, but like yes, but let's just take a second there. I'm not a big math guy. biggest, strongest dudes are in middle. Mm-hmm. Let's take ball 4 out of every 10 times and run it right at them.
Yeah.
It's not. Sometimes it might work, but this time it's not.
If you've got a really, really great O-line who's just going to power everybody through, yes. But even the Detroit Lions last year, who had one of the best O-lines in the league, welcome outside zone.
and also the thing is, when you face a team with good linebackers, like the Vikings had, Ivan Pace, former UC Bearcat, former Coleraine Cardinal, they fill in the gaps and So I want to see the Bengals get the ball to Jamar Chase more. I don't care how you do it. Get it. And Zach Taylor is the biggest proponent of that. And the only one who's a bigger proponent of that than Zach Taylor is Jamar Chase. Yes. And if the Bengals don't start getting Jamar the ball a little bit more, we're going to start hearing about it. So get the ball to Jamar Chase. How about this? Jamar Chase gets 10 receptions, the Bengals win. That's it. Right. Yeah. He gets 10 receptions. That means he's getting at least 120 yards, probably a touchdown. But even if he doesn't get a touchdown, I don't think that matters. He's got to be getting 120 yards.
Now, he will be going up against some really good cornerbacks.
Right, but I don't think anyone's going to be following him. I think they're going to do a half side of the field, kind of like every defense, it feels like, does now. But that's fine. Triple team Jamar Chase. T's open. Chase Brown's open. Isn't that why you have all these guys?
Yeah. You, let's just say, didn't do great with your score prediction this past week.
I'm, 2-1, I think.
Sure, yeah. So let's try to.
I'm the Bengals. I'm 2-1.
Let's try to recoup here. What do you think the score will be on Monday?
Dude, I don't know. Am I crazy to say this feels like an overtime game?
Ugh.
I know, on a Monday night.
Is it an overtime 14-14?
No, a 20-20.
Okay.
Well, I guess that was kind of low-key what the Broncos were this week with the Chargers.
Yeah.
I'm taking the Bengals one more time. I'm taking the Bengals 24-20.
Okay.
24-20. But when I tell you, I really don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. This feels like a gross game. I don't think we're gonna see guys throwing stripes. I think it's gonna be, and the Bengals have won 2 gross games. So maybe that's what they are. They are a team that can win the gross game. And
the grosser the better, perhaps?
I've heard that line before. Every date I've ever been on. That's what they say about me. Kidding-ish. Yeah, so that's what I think. I'm going to say 24-20 Bengals win. I'm 2-1 on my picks. So it sounds like the Bengals win. I'll be 3-1. If they lose, I'll be 2-2. And then we'll reevaluate. I'll promise you this, I'm not taking the Bengals every game this season.
Let's bring some joy into the podcast after a not-so-fun conversation about the Bengals and talk about the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh, you want to keep our personal lives out of this when we talk about the Mets and the Reds, of course.
Yeah, let's talk about the Reds. I could not have believed that this would happen. We've talked about this many times on and off camera, no doubt.
Can I tell you the only reason I didn't think the Reds could do it, but the only reason I felt it is because I knew the Mets could do this.
And you said that.
Yes, I did say that. The Mets could do this. So let's start with the Reds because they are fully doing it right now. After getting swept by the Athletics, come home against the Cubs, who, although clinched a playoff spot, Cubs are still playing baseball with something to play for.
It's not like they took out all of their
right.
stars,
They didn't call up the Iowa Cubs to play for the Chicago Cubs. Mm-hmm. It all started in the beginning of that series with Hunter Green, who says, I'm an ace. This is what aces do. 7-ish innings of no-hit baseball. Mm-hmm. Boom. First 9-inning complete game for Hunter. That's why you paid Hunter Green.
Complete shutout, yeah.
Complete game shutout. 1-0 win. And then they win them 2 middle games. Bigger games, I think it was 11-6, 7-4, something like that. Then game 4, Sunday, was another 1-0 win, but it was the complete opposite of a 1-0 win. Andrew Abbott, who has been not great since the All-Star break. I don't want to say not great. He's been solid, at good at times, bad at times. He's been a roller coaster. He was 7-1 at the All-Star break. I believe he's 9-7 now or 10-7 now.
Yeah.
he didn't have good command, which is kind of his issue. But also I kind of think is what makes him good, because like you don't know what Andrew Abbott you're going to get, and as a hitter that keeps people guessing, even though he's only throwing low to mid 90s. I think that's something that makes a pitcher good. And he threw 4 2/3, and then Smiley, Nick Martinez, comes out of the bullpen, who just has like embraced every role that he's ever had. Like, I love Nick Martinez, and locked down, and then Santillan closes it out, and the Reds win 1-0. So, talking about Nick Martinez for a second, because like I think getting him to the bullpen is one of the most important things that happened to the Reds this season. Nick Martinez, for those who don't know, had this like crazy journey career. He went and he played baseball in Japan, and thought he was like out of baseball. And I think he might have played in Korea too. Definitely played in Japan. And he thought like this is like his career, but he always wanted to come back to the majors. And one of the reasons he left is he's like, I'm going to be a starter. Came back, he's a starter, earned his starting spot with the Reds last year, gets paid this year, and he moved to the bullpen and like has embraced it. And he's so important. Like Nick Martinez, I believe, won the game for the Reds that got them into the wild card position, because he was available in the bullpen and did a great job. So yeah, I think, and what's so interesting, the Reds winning 2 games 1-0 in the most important series of the year for them so far. They lost more 1-0 games than any team in baseball at one point this year.
Yeah, earlier this season.
What's the difference in that? Because I think I know the answer.
Well, then go ahead and tell us.
Terry Francona. Like, maybe it's not him moving someone in the lineup, calling a pinch hitter, but a clubhouse created, respected, like knowing when to let the guys be the guys, knowing when to say this is unacceptable, knowing and being like a real figure of authority. People talk about managers and coaches when it's going bad. Terry Francona deserves all the praise now that it's going right, because they have a Hall of Fame manager in there right now that has gotten these guys that even when things are bad, it is so hard to pull people out of the mud. There are so many times the Reds could have said, that's our season.
I mean, they were like, 5 games back from a spot? Yeah, like they were not, for most people, they were not making the playoffs.
And losing the games you needed to win.
Yeah.
And now they're winning the games that people didn't think they could win. A 4-game sweep against the Cubs, that's the second time the Reds have ever done that.
Yeah.
And now you got Pittsburgh coming. And then you go to Milwaukee, who's already 1 game away from clinching a bye.
Yeah, Milwaukee's set. Pittsburgh's interesting because they still have some great pitchers, great players.
Yeah, Paul Skeens is pitching too. He's
amazing, yeah.
But like low-key, Paul Skeens is 10-10.
I know.
And he's going to win the NL Cy Young. That reminds me of like Jacob deGrom when he won it and was like 10-10. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think. And also, like, Francona is making the moves. He moved Ellie De La Cruz down on the lineup, and then he hits his first home run in 50 days.
Yeah.
That's not even, like, a hypothetical number. I believe it was exactly 50 days.
And he's getting more walks. It feels, I don't have the stats on it, but it feels like he's getting so many more walks now.
He's being more selective. And I think also that I think pitchers are not afraid to walk him now because he's not batting higher in the lineup, where they're not afraid of a 4-hitter coming up. Yeah, I mean, Gavin Lux is one of the reasons the Reds got Gavin Lux is because he was on the Dodgers World Series team and knows how to play this time of year. The 1 run yesterday, RBI double by Gavin Lux. Mm-hmm. Things are happening in Cincinnati. Don't let the Reds get hot, and they're hot right now. I think Terry Francona said that a Monday off day is a good thing. The Tuesday game will have happened by the time this podcast comes out. I'm a little worried about it because, like, when you're win 4 straight, I don't know if you really want an off day.
Yeah.
Is what it is. But, yeah, the Reds' rotation is really, really good. When Andrew Abbott right now isn't one of your best starters, and he was an all-star, that says a lot. Hunter Green, man, when Hunter's healthy and he is on, he could be the best pitcher in the National League.
I love Hunter Green.
Like,
love watching Hunter Green.
He's so fun. And he's so good, and he's a leader. Like parents should look at Hunter Green of like what they hope their kids could do on a baseball field. Like, yeah, not even 100 miles an hour, but he's a gamer. He wears it on his sleeve. And Hunter has grown so much in his career. Like, there were times early in his career covering him where he was essentially saying, like, I can't control if we win or lose. Like, I just pitch well. Now it's like, all that matters is win and loss.
Yeah, and I mean, he was a baby when he came up.
I'm showing how his growth.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, that's more important.
I feel like when he came up, he was under so much pressure.
Yeah, number 2 overall pick.
He's number 2 overall pick.
He
comes up.
Cover of Sports Illustrated in high school.
Everybody's like, you have to win us games or we will hate you, I felt. And he was like, hey guys, it's not just me out here. Sorry about it. People were like, no, we need you to win games.
Yeah.
And now he's finally like, no, I can win games myself.
If he didn't get hurt, man, this year, which is always his issue, I mean, he'd be going up against Skeens for the Cy Young, I think.
Yeah.
Brady Singer looks great. I'm just Nick Lodolo's healthy, which is a great thing. This Pittsburgh series, I don't think it's as a walk of a park as people are thinking. They're doing the whole hashtag #PackGABP on X. Great, PackGABP. Reds fans, you want to be playing competitive baseball in September, October, you are. Go to the games. So the real reason the Reds are in this spot, the New York Mets, who we joked about it earlier. I'm from Jersey. My parents are both from Queens. The first picture of me in the world is in a New York Mets onesie. This is what they do. This is what they do. They went from almost being like 2 weeks from clinching the division to now out of the wild card. Now, the last time the Mets have done this, ready for this? Mm-hmm. In 2006, a little history lesson for people who don't follow the Mets very closely. In 2006, Game 7 of the NLCS, Carlos Beltran looks at a curveball right down the middle against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Mets lose to the Cardinals. Cardinals go on to win the World Series. 2007, the Mets core is back and they are rolling. They have everything. They got the pitching. They have maybe the best lineup in baseball. Statistically, they did. They were up 7 games in September in the division. They blow it, losing in the final series of the year to the Miami Marlins, getting knocked out of the playoffs. 2008, the Mets, not as good as 07, but shoot, they didn't make the playoffs in 07. That doesn't matter. 2008, they're rolling. They have 3.5 game lead with barely any time left in the season. Last series of the year, the Marlins knock them out of the playoffs. The Marlins didn't even make the playoffs.
Marlins not.
It was the Phillies were the ones who got it in 07. Well, 2025. Mm-hmm. Who did the Mets end their season with?
I hate to say it.
The Marlins. It's deja vu all over again. Former Mets manager, Yogi Berra. So there's that. I mean, the way that, I don't know if anyone saw Jacob Young, the center fielder for the Nationals, on Sunday. Don't tell me there aren't baseball gods. The Nationals are winning 3-1 early in the game. Ball hit to deep center field. Jacob Young, this was viral everywhere. Ball pops out of his glove in center field. He falls back, kicks it up in the air, and catches it. All right, crazy things happen on a baseball field. The 9th inning, Nationals up 3-2. I believe it's Brett Beatty at the plate, whatever. Game-tying home run off the bat, no doubt. Well, nope, just kidding. Jacob Young's in center field, puts his glove over the fence, robbed home run. Castellini's owe a big fat check to Jacob Young. That's all I gotta say. No, I'm saying this all to say I'm very happy for the Reds. Like, I care about the Reds winning. I like the guys in that clubhouse, and I want the city of Cincinnati to be happy. So I'm all good with that. So the Mets decline. The Mets have the Cubs and the Marlins left. You're laughing so hard.
Yeah, I am.
The Mets have the Cubs at Wrigley and the Marlins. The Cubs still have something to play for, and the Marlins love to ruin the Mets. And on the other side, the Reds have the Pirates at home, and then they have at Milwaukee. Now, there is one other team to keep an eye on. Maybe technically 2 other teams, but the Giants, I think, are 4 games out right now at the time of recording. The Arizona Diamondbacks. This is why I think the Diamondbacks are really interesting. They're a game back of the Reds and the Mets. They have the Padres and Dodgers left. So why is that interesting? The Padres and Dodgers are both playing for the NL West still. Mm-hmm. The Diamondbacks interest me because they could throw TNT into the whole NL picture with this schedule and change everything from a seeding perspective. So those games are going to be tough-fought games, and if the Diamondbacks sneak in, I don't know who wins the NL West. And I get a lot of these people don't really care who's playing in the National League West. But my point is, don't count the Diamondbacks out. It's September baseball, and
the Diamondbacks are good.
Diamondbacks are good. Corbin Carroll's a stud.
Yes.
And I just think a lot of things could happen out there out west where, Reds and Mets fans think they're all asleep, being happy, both teams lost, both teams won, we're good, and then the Diamondbacks do something crazy. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be a really, really fun week of baseball. I think it's, this is what you root for your teams for. No, yes, you would rather be locked into a spot, but there's no better feeling when you root for a team and they get the last spot in the playoffs instead of the last time, especially in baseball or hockey, because the playoffs, it doesn't matter. Anyone can beat anyone. It's not like football where you're like, oh man, we're going against prime Tom Brady, prime Patrick Mahomes. This stinks. Baseball, you can win any game. Hockey, you can win any game. I mean, I'm bringing hockey into this for whatever reason. But, yeah. So there's no better feeling than getting in that last wild card spot. So you have a chance, Reds fans, to be happier than ever, or another Reds year.
It'll be interesting because something that does matter for the Reds, I think, and the Mets. The Cubs are actively in decline, actually, and have been for a little bit offensively. Mm-hmm. I think the rotation's okay. And the Cubs have plenty of decent starters, as you can tell by 1-0 losses. It's not like their pitchers were bad. Their offense is flailing.
Yeah, but you're a game away from an offense changing, always.
I understand that, but they've been flailing since the All-Star break for the most part.
Yeah, PCA isn't the guy he was in the Pete Crow Armstrong, the All-Star outfielder, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of got injured. Kyle Tucker kind of got injured, and both haven't really been the same since. So I could see the Cubs being like, well, we made the playoffs. Do we really want to keep fighting with the Padres/Dodgers, whoever wins that or loses the NL West, for the top spot, or are we just going to let the Mets walk all over us?
But here's the thing, though. When you talk about offenses, the last thing you want to do is give your offense time off, because offense is all rhythm. Guys who you want to give time off to is pitchers. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of what I was alluding to with the Reds off day. When your offense is grooving, you want them to play every single day, because a day off could change your rhythm. So if I'm the manager of the Cubs right now, if I'm running the Cubs organization, I'm not giving my starters days off. It's even if you're locked position wise, I want to see them hit it.
I don't think he's giving them a day off. I just don't think that they've been able to hit. So I'm wondering if the Mets come in because they do have something. They're like, SOS, please, we need to get a win.
Juan Soto's figured out how to play baseball again.
And I could see them coming into Wrigley and just bombing the Cubs, and then the Reds sit there and go, oh, thank you, Cubs, for screwing us over.
Yeah, I know. I believe we're talking about this is coming down to the final weekend of the year.
It's going to be intense.
That's going to be fun.
I know, I'm excited.
I know, because luckily, I would imagine most people here are National League fans. The American League right now is boring. I mean, congrats if you're a Guardians fan.
Yeah, I mean, the state of Ohio is the reason that the last week of baseball is fun, I think. You got the Reds
Guardians
rising.
are pretty much in, though.
Yeah, but the Guardians have just flipped the script on what the wild cards were.
And real quick point on the payroll, how they don't spend money. Both the Guardians and the Brewers are in the same boat. Anyway.
Before we get to college, one quick thing.
Yeah.
The wild card starts next week, basically a week from now, essentially. It's a week and a day from now. I want your opinion. Who's in the playoffs?
From the National League? Mm-hmm. Who gets the last spot, you mean, or everyone?
I mean, you can say the 3 wild card
teams. So,
I
think it's going to be the teams that win the divisions are going to be the Brewers, the Phillies have already clinched.
The Dodgers.
I think the Dodgers win. I think the Cubs are going to be playing against the because it'd be the one down. Mm-hmm. It would be, why am I not mathing right now?
Right now it's Cubs, Padres, Mets, and Reds.
I think it's going to be the Diamondbacks.
Wow. Not your childhood team nor the team that you root for now.
I want it to be one of those two, which is why it's going to be the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
Because I think we're talking so much about how easy the final series, how possible it is for those two teams, which is why I'm like, that means it'll be the Diamondbacks. And that's purely just going like for the plot.
Okay.
I will be thrilled if it's the Reds. I will be thrilled if it's the Mets. I will laugh if it's the Diamondbacks.
Okay.
Big 12 football, UC had the week off. They played Kansas. I mean, you got to hope for a 500 record in the Big 12. We'll talk more college football afterwards. I just wanted to mention, they're playing Kansas in Lawrence to start the Big 12 season. Cincy dudes in the news is actually a dude at the most talked about guard on the Indiana Fever, Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell, 34 points in the Fever's win in the first game of the semifinals against the Vegas Aces. And hold on, Indiana Fever. No Caitlin Clark. No Sophie Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the dang thing.
Yeah. Beat Atlanta, and now are playing MVP Asia Wilson and the Vegas Aces.
And, I mean, don't tell me that the Fever can't go all the way, going up against, the other side's the Mercury and the Lynx.
Uh-huh.
And it could happen. We could have Kelsey Mitchell bringing home a ring to Cincinnati.
And Kelsey Mitchell, for the people who don't know.
Yeah, she went to Princeton High School, and she plays for the Indiana Fever. And everyone's always talking about that guard from the Fever. And I guess everywhere else in the country, they talk about some girl named Caitlin Clark,
Who's not even playing. Who cares?
Who's not even playing. Sophie Cunningham, the biggest TikTok star in the WNBA, the glow-up of glow-ups for, TikTok stars, also not playing.
But you know who is?
Princeton High School alum Kelsey Mitchell, 34 points in the Fever's win. And I think their second game is Tuesday night, if I'm not mistaken, 9:30 p.m. tip, if I'm not mistaken. So, Kelsey Mitchell, do that in the news. And honestly, maybe again next week if she winds up making it to the championship.
Yeah. And that would be a crazy twist for the Fever, who were the overall crowd favorite due to Caitlin Clark. Then immediately oh no, we don't have any of our main stars. And then they went, wait a minute, we still have great players.
Real quick, because we're tight on time.
Yes.
If the Fever win the finals, is that good or bad for the WNBA?
I think it's good.
Without Caitlin Clark?
Yeah. I think it's good because they go, wow, people watch because they were like, oh, it's Caitlin Clark's team. And then they go, oh, wow, it's actually not just Caitlin Clark. There are other good people.
But do people care? Do people care? But will they get the same amount of appreciation and care when Caitlin Clark comes back then?
I think if Caitlin Clark comes back next season after they've already won, yes, because people will be like, can Caitlin Clark lead them to a second, or is Caitlin Clark the problem? It'll get very first takey.
Well, that's kind of what I'm wondering, because I almost think WNBA doesn't want the Fever to win. Because I think they want Caitlin Clark in the center of their WNBA finals because it would be the most watched event. Where now I think people will watch, but it's not a knock to anyone on the Fever or anyone in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's one of the biggest stars in all the sports, men's or women's. So, just a thought. Anyway, Bengals Monday Night Football, Reds. This time next week, we will either be talking about the playoffs or we'll be talking about a crazy season.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us. Relax is Just Sports. We'll see you next week.